never seen a smile so big on my little old lady's face until I tell her I'm going fishing all weekend. Pack up all of my bait and I make plans for 7:45 and I swing around, pick up my date for the weekend. Some reason she seems to please when I'm leaving. There's something I'm missing when I'm gone fishing. When I'm gone fishing. When I'm gone fishing.
Yeah, baby.
Yes, sir. Andre Lamar with our opening, and it's an honor to play that each and every week, especially with all you CFNers that are a part of it, who are also with us tonight. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Sally's in the house. I know you did. You're probably a little tired. Barry, you the same. Rob, how you doing, my friend? Lloyd in the house. Saskatchewan is watching in, what is it, 2 hours ahead? Appreciate you guys spending the time as you do. I know the hour's a little whack for you Saskatchewan folk, but I tell you, we are honored to have you here nonetheless. Steve Shaw's in the house. He'll be doing a lot of sharing of links, so we'll thank him up front. Chris Moore's with us. How you doing, Chris? Eve, how you doing? Good evening as well. But yeah, absolutely. It is a wonderful and typical Monday. We're right back at it. We had an interesting weekend nonetheless. I hope everybody got out fishing because the weather was absolutely fantastic. Maybe a little hot depending on where you were, but outside of the storms that went through Southern Ontario last night, it was all in all a fantastic weekend. What's up, Floyd? Good to see you, my friend. But yeah, I hope everybody got out. I know Christina hooked a hog, a massive hog. Steve did a fantastic edit this morning on that. Robbie's in the house. Good to see you, Robbie. Oh, this is awesome. So glad you guys joined us. We are going to be putting together, speaking of Robbie and Cabby's Custom Jigs, we are putting together all the prize packs at some point for all of our CFN Fish Off provincial winners. We are going to be starting with the combos, the symmetry combos. So I will be getting in touch with the winners to make sure we go over the addresses, but those will be going out. And a big shout out to Pal Cassie's because they are going to help with all of the shipping of that. So that is a huge strain. You see that gorilla that just jumped off my back? Huge. That's helping out in a huge way. So Brad Powell, Pal Cassie's, thank you so much for that generous contribution. Luke Gerard, good to see you as well, my friend, as always. As I said, this past weekend, it was all about the kids, at least where I was, and Barry and Sally and a few other CFNers. We were up in the Algoma area in Elliot Lake, putting on a kids derby. And I don't know if you guys saw any of the posts that we had made saying that we were going to be up here, but that was basically the event. It was on Saturday. It started at 8 a.m. The winds picked up a little bit near the end, and unfortunately we had to end a little sooner, but we did so obviously for the safety of the kids because, you know, I mean, these, and I'll tell you, there were some serious fish caught. We have a little video that we're going to share, and I'll go through it so you folks have an idea of what it was that we saw. But beautiful. Elliot Lake is a beautiful town, man. I tell you, if I had a chance to live up there, I'd take it. I would not pass it up. But beautiful place for all the kids to fish. This was, as I said, the Derby. It was on the Saturday. Those are all the sponsors, fantastic, generous sponsors, helped out in a huge way. But these kids, young up to 16, were fishing all along the shoreline, as I said, on the shores of beautiful Elliot Lake. This is, if you've never fished this area or been up to this area, it is, I would say, a little bit different than any northern town. They have all kinds of amenities, fantastic services. It's known for its retirement community, but as I said, they are starting to see it sort of get half and half. The kids, I don't know if you can see that, but the kids were fishing all along the docks. Anywhere there was a dock that didn't have a boat, all along this shoreline. So roughly just under 80 kids showed up to this event. Some were troopers enough. They got into some of the weeded area, but you can see them all along the shoreline here fishing. And they were like one of the biggest fish was caught by our good friend Ryland, and that's him right there. And I think it was just before he caught, I think it was 16 and a half inches. We will get to all the wonderful action later on as I put this together. But of course, all the swag, every kid went home with a shirt. And look at some of these prizes, like these gift bags that were put together by Pam and Chuck and all the other volunteers, generous volunteers. But look at those belts. Those were brilliant ideas. So those were for first, second, and third largest fish caught at the Derby. There was no shortage of food. Again, the volunteers went out of their way, made it quite the event. And our chef, I forget his name. He had an assistant there. There's our good buddy and host Chuck, making sure everything was on the up and up. Everybody got signed in, and of course, all the generous volunteers who signed up, all the kids, they did their part as well, making sure they all had their swag, all their gift bags. There's Pat, there's Gary, and of course, this lady right here, Sally, worked her buns off. As a fish was caught, she ran literally all over the place, making sure that the fish got measured properly. And of course, big shout out to Handlebars Musky Lures for making the official bump board for that event. Now it says let's get to the action. Well, we will. The unfortunate thing right now is that's as far as I got with the video. So stay tuned. Hopefully we'll feature it on Friday. But again, big shout out to everyone that participated, showed up, volunteered their time, donated prizes, donated, a whole bunch of things, food, you name it. And on behalf, I was really honored to be there for one, but I got a dubious honor from the group for basically just showing up and driving as far as I did. But, Barry Sally came a long distance, and Ryland and his parents, they came from Thessalon. So there were some groups that traveled a long way, but I have to say, that beautiful gem on the wall right here, I accepted that on behalf of all the volunteers, because without the volunteers, none of this happens. These kids, unfortunately, through the last 2 years of COVID, have had nothing. And they've been, held up in their houses. This was the first time in that area anyway, they were really able to get out and do some fishing. Maybe some didn't know about it. I know a lot of folks were passing the message. I had no idea this was going on. Oh, this is so awesome. So we may have had, roughly 80 kids this year. You watch next year. I almost think it's going to double. So if you are looking to volunteer, hopefully we can get this going next year and build a buzz. Because as I said, it was awesome just to see, the smiles on the kids' faces, the thrill of the parents too. Like at the end of the day, when their child receives something, there's no bigger smile on a parent than at that time for him being rewarded for something that he's done or she's done, but just getting something, for free and not really having to do much to get it. And it was awesome. Great event. But I did accept that award on behalf of all the volunteers, because as I said, can't say it enough. Without you folks, none of this goes on. So outside of that, we have a couple of announcements. Obviously, we have received the last chapter of what was the Western Retreat. If you saw the video that Taylor put together, can't say enough good things about Taylor for doing that. It was fantastic, great depiction each day of what the CFN Western Retreat looked like. So Taylor, good on you for that. And if you didn't see it, just shout out to Walter and Taylor, and they'll send you a link so that you can go have a look yourself. But to Jan Lake Lodge and all who attended, thanks so much. We really appreciate it. And you have created a benchmark for Western retreats to follow. And that'll be a tough one to follow in terms of location. Jan Lake Lodge, from everything Barry and Sally told me and everybody else, was quite the establishment. Of course, the upcoming, I can't believe this, the upcoming CFN retreat is in like 2 weeks. I was talking to Warren and Doris, and I'm thrilled, absolutely thrilled to find out that we have only 2 spots available. We'll be able to squeeze you in, It will be as I said, we can definitely make the room. They're very happy with the numbers that we have now, but we still want to make and provide that opportunity for our CFNers. So if you are looking to get there, by all means, reach out to Warren and Doris at HorwoodLakeLodge.com, and they will point you in the right direction. But as it is right now, any more than 2, and we are sandwiching you in somewhere, and it's probably not going to be as comfortable as it should. So as it is right now, there's only 2 spots available so that we can provide the comfort and room for all of you. And I just can't believe that's coming up in 2 weeks. Like, holy smokes, man. This summer is just flying by. Of course, at the almost the end of September at Camp McIntosh, we also have the OFC Nation retreat that is going to be going on Friday, September 23rd to September 25th. Now, I got to reach out to Andre and Tracy and make sure, everything's in line for that. We have been extremely busy with the Fish Off, the kids event, and a whole bunch of other things. So as I said, I haven't been able to, get in touch and make sure everything's good to go. So I feel bad for Andre and Tracy. My apologies, but I promise you, I will be reaching out to you this week to find out more. And last but not least, of course, if you are looking to represent, and this is quite a little prize pack for you, you can get a hat, a buff, and a boat flag for $70. So as I said, reach out to Fish Whipped and Babs for putting this together. She's also putting our shirts together for the retreat, the CFN retreat. So thanks, Babs. I know you're working feverishly. Did throw you a bit of a curveball, but you are handling it like a true professional. So I can't thank you enough. Now, before Jim comes on, I don't know if there's any other announcements. So let me look at some of the comments to make sure. Yeah, Camp McIntosh, absolutely. That is the website. So if you're looking to show up there, and if you are looking for Fish Whip apparel, that is the link. Thanks so much, Steve. And last but not least, if you are looking to get to the CFN retreat, August 14th to the 21st, make sure you hook on that link, have a look, talk to Warren and Doris, and get one of the 2 last remaining spots at Horwood. And without further ado, let us bring on our beloved Big Jim. But before we do, he wanted us to have a look at this video. And if you didn't see some of the new stuff that came out from Shimano at ICAST, this is your lucky day. Have a look. Oh, Jim.
Did I ever put together some nice videos, eh?
Really? And that's just one. That's basically a compilation of everything that was introduced at ICAST. They have individual videos that we'll be also sharing as well. But that jointed minnow, the flat.
Yeah, it's got a magnet in it.
Oh.
And the magnet disengages and it folds up when you cast it, so it doesn't tumble and spin and everything. Wow. And as soon as it hits the water and floats straight, the magnets click back, and
unreal.
It's like Japanese technology at its best. It's and for a lot of guys that wanted a Steve Shaw with the flash boost. Yeah. I was gonna talk.
Wow. Wow.
I see guys, I show this stuff to guys and they go like this. They say, well, I say it doesn't have to be being shaken to work. Can you imagine that sitting in the water and a smallmouth sitting a foot under and looking at it?
I don't imagine he'd be there for very long before that was in his
You,
mouth.
you can really see the way it just sort of floats around. I can't get it to.
Now, I know Steve has fished with it. Anybody else in the audience fished with these new Flash Boost
Well, I'll tell
products?
you, I was at Gagnon's last Friday, and Justin told me, he said it's almost impossible to keep them on the shelf.
So they are the real deal. Wow.
Yep, almost impossible.
Jim, have you had a chance to fish with them?
No, not yet. I haven't been somewhere. I showed you what happened today, though.
I was just going to say, so here's the reason that you have not been fishing. Of course, you've been tying, you've been getting ready.
I've been making, like, the worst thing that ever happened at this time could happen was for them to show all the fish being caught on the fluff. It was absolutely ridiculous. Like when they go on the TV and they show, let me see here, like you can see Corey Johnson there, and I've got the fluff circled in the little black jig.
Yeah.
Like almost a 6-pound smallmouth.
Yeah.
Most people have never caught a 6-pound smallmouth, and they're just scooping them all, one after the other out here. But the really big thing that's been taking a lot of time in my life has been this, and
it's on the market. Bittersweet, right?
Yeah.
Jim?
We really wanted to stay here for the rest of our lives. We love this place, but it's one of those things that let's go before you really have to, where there's no question of it. You just don't realize that when you get older, this shit catches up, right?
Yeah.
And Tammy's in fact, she's into the doctor at 8:00 tomorrow morning, so I gotta roast her about 6 to be sure she's up, because until the medications kick in, it's not fun being her.
No, I can imagine.
And it's not getting any better. In fact, if it's anything, it's, I would say, considerably worse.
Yeah.
So hopefully they can, eventually figure out what the hell's causing all. Like you said, if they could just get rid of the pain.
Yeah. 100%.
Really what's holding her down. So,
yeah.
But we'll deal with that, and we'll get by. Like, we have our eye on a little place just across the bay here. I've sent you the pictures there. You've seen it. And just a little bungalow, little small place, got a beautiful dock out front. I hope there's as many fish in front of it as there is over here. When I leave, I am going to let them all know I'm going to be on the other side of the bay. So when they come in now, they have to turn left, not right. And we're going to look at as soon as we move, we're going to look at getting a. Thanks, I appreciate that. We're going to look at getting a small pontoon boat,
nice.
Put electric on it, and get that rigged up. Just keep it in the water all summer. So virtually any time of any day when I feel like I want to go, unhook the bungee cord and let her rip. And that's there's a lot of places around here you can catch a lot of big fish. You don't have to. There'd be a lot of times you could go out here with the electric. You wouldn't have to use the gas motor, right?
No,
it's just taking your time and doing it. Right? So, but there's that. And just trying to keep up in here. I was looking around. I can't even find my Shimano shirt. I keep it out here in the office, and we did all this. We got rid, like, we decluttered, like everything's gone. Stuff's like, you open the garage door, and you go, and you go around to the front with the garage door opener to get in, because it's just you can't move, right?
Well, it I don't know. It might be just me, but there is a definite louder echo in that room than ever before.
Do you hear it?
Oh yeah, you could definitely hear it.
Because it's the behind me and over in the back. Because this is actually a granny suite. You can't see it. Like, there's a sink in a kitchen right here, and in the back there's a washroom and the bathroom and all that stuff. And then we got the laundry upstairs here, so we didn't have to run up and downstairs.
Right.
But this used to be the garage in the house, and they built it on and closed it in like this, and it served the purpose for us. And times we have 9 grandkids, and there was times when they all stayed over.
Yeah.
And there's two of them are in Calgary now. 3 of them are up in Stone Cliff there, just below Mattawa.
Yeah.
And we've only got the other ones left here, so we don't need quite as big a house out there, anymore. Plus, having the bungalow, this isn't bad. There's just there's the basement, but we don't have to go down there if we don't want. And even if, like we often said when we moved here, even if the stairs did become a huge issue, I could still go up and down them. No problem. Tammy's having a lot of grief. She's just weakened up terribly from just all the sitting around and everything, and then she gets exhausted. Anything she does, 5 minutes, she's just ready to fall on the floor.
Yeah.
So we're going to address that. We have our list of things for the doctor tomorrow. But and even if we had to go downstairs, if it got that bad, like I said to her, you could jump in the truck, as you know, and drive around to the back of the house. So you can avoid the stairs if you wanted to. But the nice thing about the new house, there's no stairs, so we don't have to worry about it.
I have to ask you, now that we've been talking about it, what was one of the coolest memories that you will forever remember about that house?
First year I was here when they had the Renegade Bass Classic.
Yep.
And my backyard was basically Classic Central. And I hired a guy here that was a hot dog and hamburger czar. And he came out, and we had like 150 guys in the backyard here.
Unreal.
Full of boats. I mean, well, not all of them, obviously. There's 80 teams, but it was just a 5-hour party. It was just absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. And then what else? The night that I caught all the bass out of the lake bed, the second year we were there.
Yeah.
And I hawked up, like the first one I caught was over 6. The next one was like 5.75. I just whacked a bunch, and then I was getting a call from my buddy in Barrie, and he says to me, "Hey, I fished there last weekend in Renegade. I only caught 12 pounds, and like 18 something won. It was a horrible weekend." He said, "Tell me you didn't catch all those fish sitting in a lawn chair." And I said, "Hey, I'd be lying if I said no."
That's hilarious.
So the guy's out in the $125,000 boats. I go down, 15, 18 minutes, you hawk out 19, 20 pounds of bass out of if I would have taken the 5 biggest ones. Right?
Well, I've seen it firsthand, and
it's so nice that you can catch fish right out the back here. In fact, my real estate guy, Dave, he said to me today, he said, you got to have one picture in there of you with a fish.
100%.
He said it just has to be done. So I says to him today, I says, "What's the most expensive house you ever sold?" He looks at me, he says, "Well, I sold one this morning for 6.6. Okay. And he said, "That's the biggest one in a while." And I said, "Yeah, but what's the biggest one ever?" And he said, 22.2.
Oof.
The house was actually listed on the Florida Real Estate Exchange. It's on the St. Lawrence, and it's just a massive property.
I'm sure it comes with a helipad, a runway.
Hey, he was telling us today there's somebody trying to put a helicopter pad in on, I think it's on Wellesley Island down here on the St. Lawrence.
Jeez.
And they've had like huge brouhahas at the town council and everything about it.
Oh, I can imagine.
It's not like one of these little 2-seater things. This guy wants to fly like a 6-8 seat Bell helicopter in there.
Oh.
Like that would sound like the Army was showing up every time you came and left. So.
Not to mention the wind event that it would cause. Holy crap.
He's got a huge amount of property, and like it's not going to be near anybody's property or anything. It'd be in the middle of the forest and the whole deal, but still. But that's what the Thousand Islands are like. They're all the $1 million, homes now. You say $1 million homes, it means nothing today. A house for ours is listed here at 1.1.
Yeah,
it means nothing today.
No, it isn't. And as I said, with everything that's going on in the market and interest and inflation, I hope that you get every dollar you deserve out of that house.
I hope so. We sort of got a number. We know where we want to go to do what we want to do.
Yeah.
And I want to be. There was another one over here we looked at, but it will put us back in having a mortgage again.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm almost 70. It's time to get away from that. Like this isn't, how many years have I got left in this? And it's not like I worked in the government. I'm not knocking anybody in the government.
Yeah.
But I don't, there's no pension.
Yeah.
You don't phone up the fisherman's fund and say, "Hey, I'm starting to get out of this now." it's time. And I'll never quit. You think, how do you do what I've done all my life and you just leave? It
Not going to happen.
Yeah, there's not a chance in the world of it happening. Not a chance in the world.
No.
But I'm talking about some other things. I got what is this? Oh, 2 autographs in the lounge here. Oh, Steve Shaw. Gonna show up next week. It's gonna have SS on my knuckles. Be waiting for you next time you're here, buddy. You two nitwits still have to come fishing here this summer.
Well, we will. Absolutely.
I'll call you out in public. So I got a buddy of mine that's done really, really well.
I think you just did.
Look, look at the mother must be feeling really, really well tonight. Look what she just texted.
In the pool.
Put on the life jacket.
Oh,
So,
man.
I got a buddy of mine that's done really well in a lot of tournaments this year. Until the last one. But the last one was on the Ottawa River, and like he said to me, he said never had it happen in his life. He fished all day. They jumped off one fish each. They caught a 12-incher, and that was it. And he's traditionally done well in the Ottawa.
Oh.
Now, probably a third of the teams never weighed in and went home out of the, I think it was 80. So, it's not. But he's had 4 or 5 tournaments, a couple where he's come second, a couple he's won some decent money this year. He's probably won about, I don't know, maybe 10, 12 grand.
Well, good for
And
him.
what he's been using is a chatterbait.
Okay.
You notice how big it is, though?
Yeah.
Against my hat. It's got a big trailer. It's a 3/4 ounce head, but with the same old little blade on it. That's just a generic blade you could buy on, luremaking.com or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it's a nice, sort of like a watermelony dark green type color. And it's not so much the fact that it's a chatterbait. I mean, chatterbaits are a godsend. They're almost to fishing what the Senko is. Not quite, but they're close.
Mm-hmm.
Fish eat them. That's all there is to it. But what he's been doing with that is they've been fishing around the edge of the milfoil, and they let that bait 3/4 of an ounce plus the plastic, everything else, it's heavy, right? And they let it go down to the edge of the milfoil, 8, 10, 12 feet of water. They let it hit the bottom, and they rip it up, reel a little bit, rip it up, let it go down, rip it up, and they just keep doing it. And that's how they're catching the fish. So I was talking to Gussie last week when he was down here fishing, and I mentioned that to him. And when him and Chris came first and second in Florida in the FLW before they switched to Bassmaster, that's what they were doing.
Interesting.
And he says to me, "Do you remember when I was talking to you on the phone? Chris coming to the door at the hotel." I said, "Oh, that's right." Chris came to get. He had some chatterbaits that they were using, and Chris only had one left. And Gussie gave him a couple out of the bag.
Of course he did.
And then Chris won the next day.
No.
Now, he may have won anyway, you know what I'm saying? But Chris has been pretty humble a few times on the stage, right? Like when he came second to Ricky Clun, like he was standing there looking at Ricky Clun and he was in awe.
As all of us, I think, would be.
Like, so you come second to Ricky Clun.
Yeah.
That's
a feat in itself.
I love his new slogan that he has since he's won tournaments in recent years. And I think he turned 74 this week. And his thing was, "Don't ever let anybody tell you that your best days are behind you."
Good advice.
That's his slogan. Yeah.
Good advice.
That's his slogan. So it's really, really cool. But yeah, no, like I cannot, like, I mean, I've got guys coming, like I was just telling you, I've got bags of these things made 10, 20, 30, guys with 50. I showed you the list there.
Yeah.
It's an absolute phenomenon, but it's also a technique that if you miss it by 5%, you may as well sit in the corner, because if you don't get it exactly right and do it the way it's supposed to be done with the proper tackle, it ain't, you really have to learn about what it is before you do it.
So maybe, Jim, next week we'll spend a lot more time on it in terms of the technique and how you fish it, because listening to you before we went live, I'd like to say I'm okay with quarter ounce. I can get by with an 8-ounce jig, but 1/32, like
No. The Johnsons, all the guys that are in the know, basically it's 3/32. And if it was to be a windy day like today, like those guys posted pictures, we're down here practicing for the Thousand Islands Open, which is Renegade. And most guys would say the waves were 8 feet. They were probably 3 to 4. Because that's down in the eastern basin of Lake Ontario, and it was blowing from the southwest. So by the time they get it in front of Kingston, and at the mouth of the St. Lawrence River, like they're not waves. It's just all going like this.
Yeah.
You see it just goes by. You see the boat ride up on it, and you go down and come off base. So it's out there, but it's something that, and it's not just the Great Lakes. It's not just the Great Lakes.
Right on.
There's so much to it. So
well, Jim, the half hour goes quickly as it always does with you. There's a wealth of information that we still
I'm offended.
Get, but we'll talk about the fluff. We'll talk about the technique with the fluff and how you work it. That perhaps maybe you're like me and having those subtleties and making sure you have bottom contact is not the easiest thing in the world unless you truly know how to do it.
Oh yeah, with the light jigs.
Yeah.
Like I told you about Jimmy Linder when they first did it, the jig, they let it go to the bottom in a lot of cases. They start to reel. If they don't feel the bottom, they put the rod tip down. If they feel the bottom too much, they lift the rod tip up. Just changes the angle and it lifts the lure up. And it's all about where the fish are. You have to be where the fish are. You can't just go out and say, okay, I'm doing this just like they said, because if there's no fish there, you can't catch it.
Save it for next week. Jim, hope you have a great week. Hope Tammy feels better. Glad she's in
Me
the
too.
pool. And as I said, enjoy. We will be in touch, my friend.
Maybe I'll try to find somebody to come on for 10 minutes quick and explain to us how to use fluff.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Like it. Right on, dude.
I'll hawk somebody. And you saw the note I got from Dr. Tufts?
Yes, I did, sir.
Yeah, I'm coming on. He's fishing the tournament out here this week, so he's, he said to me, "I need a couple more days to recover now." When I do these things, I told him, "Oh, getting older, are we?" Because he almost played professional football in the States, eh?
I know. He had a bit of an athletic career. Absolutely.
Yeah. He was like all-star perennial in college in Canada.
Wow. Good stuff.
Cool. Okay,
right,
everybody be safe. Everybody catch some fish.
Absolutely. You as well, Jim. Take care, buddy.
Be good.
As always, it's a true pleasure to have him on our show each and every Monday, and he looks forward to it as much as we do. But yeah, there was a couple questions that came in. Sally, Horwood dates. It is the 14th is the travel day. So the travel day up to Horwood. It's not officially the start, but that's the day we want you sort of there. The official start is the Monday, which is the 15th, where it is a full day. But everybody will be arriving on the Sunday, and then they punt us out of there on the Saturday, the 21st. If you want to stay longer, these are things that you'll talk to Doris and Warren about, hopefully sooner than later. But the CFN retreat is a designated rate for that week. So anything over and above that, again, you'll have to talk to our beloved Doris and Warren. Now, before we bring on Lawrence, and he's got some interesting topics. Also, don't forget at the end, we've got like 3 giveaways tonight. It's all going to be the bait fuel. Okay. So stay tuned to that. We managed to get 5 people to buy sticker packs. So we're going to be giving that away after, or during, or just at the end of Jay's, as well as the fish ID. So everybody that answered last week, and there were a bunch of you who got it right, we're also going to be rolling the wheel to find out who wins the bait fuel. Because as I said, I want to get this in as many folks' hands as possible so that you get to experience what I get to experience. And speaking of experiences, Lawrence is up next right after a word from our sponsor.
When it comes to Canadian food, we've got your back with flavors like lemon pepper, beer batter, campfire barbecue, lemon pepper dill, garlic butter and chives, and crispy Cajun. We've got a mix for every meal. Whether you're serving East Coast shrimp, West Coast salmon, succulent walleye, chicken wings, or veggies, we've got you covered. Coat your food in outdoor flavors. Available online or at these fine retailers.
Lawrence is in the house. How you doing, Lawrence?
I'm well, friend. I'm well.
Boy, right on. Well, it's always a pleasure to see you. And as I said, I got the newsletter from Bluefish Canada today. So I know you got lots to talk about. But how did you make out in those storms last night? Did you guys see anything your way?
No, you know what? Everything went west or east of us, right? I mean, there was those tornadoes that went over Belleville and up past Tweed, past Big Jim. And then there was a tornado that was north of Montreal. Jeez. So we're just being circled.
Wow.
But it was a windy day for sure.
Yeah.
Windy day.
It has been a summer of weather, that's for sure. And really strange weather, not typical weather. Yes, we get thunderstorms, but when we hear the ratios and all this kind of stuff that I've never experienced in all the years that I've been on this earth, the weather is somewhat changing. I'm not sure what it is or why or any, but it's definitely something that we should all take notice of. Lawrence, I am not going to hold you up because I know you've got a plethora of stuff to share with us, so it's all yours.
Well, the Bluefish Canada news did come out, so bluefishcanada.ca if you want to read the whole thing there, plus the editorial, plus the extra we put in there we'll get to that in a bit, but I pulled a few things out just across Canada real quickly, and I think we'll start out there on the northwest, right? So, we're always into the salmon, and that's the topic for the editorial this week is about the disputes over who gets to catch the Pacific salmon and the role of the hatcheries in all of this. So if you want to dig in on that, check out that editorial in the Bluefish News. But we're not the only ones pissed off with the Alaskan commercial fishery. Turns out subsistence fishers up there in Alaska themselves are asking the government to tune it down, dial it back. They're saying their chum salmon fishery is being pounded, and they're not getting the fish they need to make it through the winter this year. So they're asking that to dial it back. In the meantime, the commercial salmon fishing in Alaska has gone from catching 38 million salmon to 64 million salmon in the 1 week. In 1 week, it jumped from 38 to 64 million fish in 1 week. That's the kind of numbers that just boggles the mind, right?
Wow, it sure does. I don't know. Is there any rhyme to that reason, or? Well,
we're putting about 1.2 billion pink hatchery salmon. Pink, the pinks, they're the ones that the commercial people love the most. They're easy to process. They're easy to can. They're popular. They look good on when they come out of the can. But when the pink salmon is really high, when there's a lot of pinks, all the other salmon species suffer because the pinks just gobble up all the food. And when you're adding 1.2 billion hatchery pink into the northeast Pacific Ocean every year, and that's bumping up the population, which is already at super high levels. It's already at top levels already. You're adding another 15% with that 1.2 billion fish that you're adding to the mix. So it's not leaving a lot of room for the other fish.
Yeah. Well, and I see, obviously, Jeanette is sharing a comment here. Her son is in the Yukon and they can't keep salmon.
No.
So therein lies, the conflict. Canadian waters, we have obviously decided that no, let's not keep anything. Let's try and rebuild the stocks, where in American waters, it's completely different.
It's completely different up there. And that's part of climate change. Glaciers are melting, rivers are flowing earlier. It's becoming more positive territory for salmon. So the salmon are should be doing well up there. But then there's the Yukon River not doing well at all. And it gets me to my next story. Commercial recreational fishing has been closed on the Skeena River. That's the northern sort of Fraser type river up in northern British Columbia.
I had heard that. Yep.
Yeah. So no more recreational fishing on the Skeena this year or its tributaries. That's a huge blow. What the Skeena has, that's the main thing they have to attract tourists up there, right?
I was just going to say, there's got to be at least two lodges that I can think of that are on that river. and there's probably others that I just don't know of or can't or doesn't come to mind. But how does that affect a lodge owner? Like,
Oh yeah. No,
you're
they're
taking away the whole reason of their existence.
oh yeah. And how many seasons like that can you go? First of all, we lost all the Americans for the last 2 years, couldn't come up because of COVID, and now another closure because of lack of fish.
Oh,
So that's that's going to affect everybody up there. That's the whole economy up there.
wow, man! I
Mhm.
tell you, what they have done, unfortunately, to this fishery, whether it's one person's fault, a group, Mother Nature, it doesn't really seem to matter. But at the end of the day, what a blow to our Canadian lodge owners, BC lodge owners. Holy smokes.
Yeah. Well, let's move to Manitoba. And here's an interesting story. Parks Canada put on a little spearfishing course. They taught 4 Indigenous young people how to spearfish. So basically, how to go underwater, hold your breath, swim, throw a spear underwater, and get back up to the surface without running into problems. It's on Lake Clear in Manitoba, and this is a program to address an invasive species outbreak. Now, I'll give you 3 guesses to what that invasive species is.
Oh, well, my first guess would be goldfish.
Nope.
Second would be perhaps grass carp.
Nope.
And last but not least, my third would be
Anyone else got a guess?
Yeah. Anybody else have a guess? Classen is saying bass.
It is. It's smallmouth bass. They're
It's
teaching
invasive?
people how to spear smallmouth bass. Yeah. They're an invasive species on Lake Clear, and this is the only thing they can think of to get rid of them. There you go.
Oof.
One man's garbage is another man's gold, eh?
I no, let's not start a riot. Everybody stay calm. Everybody stay calm. Oh, really? They're spearing
Yeah.
bass. That's probably not going to go over very well with the bass folks.
Well, you wouldn't want to see that happen on the St. Lawrence River.
I
You
don't
know?
think I'd want to see it in the province of Ontario. I mean, the fact that
Yeah.
it's going on in Canada alone, but regardless, as I said, the folks that are in the know, we have to prescribe that they know what they're doing. So again, it is what it is.
It is what it is, my friend. Smallmouth bass are aggressive, dominating fish that do well in Canadian lakes. Like, they love that clearer water. They hunt with their eyes, and they roam and hunt. And yeah, they're quite the little scoundrels.
Well, they are, and I think everybody understands that. Hence the reason why they're probably open in Northern Ontario and remain open all season long. They have done very well, but they are also extremely aggressive. Not the most conducive fish for some populations, not all, some populations, but yeah, I mean, there is an argument there. But I know if you're a bass lover, there's no argument at all.
No, I hear you. It's time and place, right? It's time and place. You can't just apply something from your gut because it just feels right or wrong. You got to look at the situation, and in every place, the situation is different. In a different time of year, a different time.
Yeah.
10 years ago, 5 years from now, who knows? We might be all singing a different tune. Hey, here's
I would
something.
say, sorry, before you go on, the only thing that, and as I said, I've had this argument a couple times with some CFNers, and I do respect their side. But as I said, if someone can provide me a positive influence that cormorants have, by all means, write them in the comments. I just don't see any value that a cormorant possesses, and it's not to say I'm not a bird lover, and I want to, basically diminish, an animal species to the point of extinction. It's not about that. It's just their numbers are exceeding. What they do to our fisheries is problematic, and if there's anything that I would love to see controlled, would be them.
I've never caught a fish within 500 yards of a cormorant island.
Yeah,
you just don't bother fishing around anywhere where there's cormorants. Just pointless. But there is one positive for cormorants. They're feeding the gold and the bald-headed eagles. They love them. Yum yum. Breast meat.
All eagles eat cormorants?
Oh yeah, and golden eagles too. That's their preferred prey of bird of prey.
I honestly thought they had no predators. I thought
Nope.
they were literally, wow.
Yep. Do you ever notice when the cormorants leave the island, they fly about 2 feet above the surface of the lake in a line? They do that for a reason, because they know those big birds of prey are less likely to dive bomb them when they're so close to the surface, because they'll just plow them into the water, and it'll be a hard time getting them out again. So that's why they fly so close to the surface of the lake and the river. But
okay, you know what? This is fantastic. Thanks so much for sharing this, because I had no idea about any of this, Lawrence. That's brilliant stuff. Fantastic.
I heard that from some indigenous people. I said, I said, what were they doing here before? And he goes, oh no, he said the golden eagles love them. It's the breast meat. It's, beautiful, high energy, high protein, high oil breast meat. It's they love it.
Well,
and you look now, you see where these cormorant colonies, you see them now. Sometimes you'll see eagles sitting up on those islands now.
Well, you know what? And to you, golden eagles, bald eagles, eat to your heart's content. It's a full-fledged buffet. Hamilton Harbor's got a load of them.
Yeah.
Out west, Prince Edward County has a load of them. Basically, anywhere along the shores of the Great Lakes, they're everywhere. So,
Ottawa River too.
I mean, I would love to see their numbers controlled, but then of course there becomes, like we have more birds of prey, right? Like, I think the argument that someone used, which was a valid one. All right, Scotty, we get rid of all the cormorants. What about loons? Loons do the same thing. Valid. I just don't think that there's an appetite to get rid of loons as there is for cormorants. And it's
have you ever seen an island with 100 loons on it? You don't see that. You see a large lake with maybe a dozen loons.
Yeah.
And they eat their fair share of trout, but they're not eating 2 and 3 pound bass.
Yeah.
Dude,
you know what? You just blew me away. That was a whole wealth of information. Hope everybody listened to that, heard that, because this is stuff that I had no idea about cormorants. Very cool. Yeah. Sorry, I interrupted. I digress.
Oh, no worries, buddy. Anytime. Hey, so Toronto. You've heard of the Toronto Urban Fishing Ambassadors, David Curlin, David Clark?
Absolutely. Dave Clark.
Guys. Yep. Yeah, great guys. Absolutely. They go down to High Park Lake there in the middle of Toronto during Family Fishing Week. They bring all the fishing gear. They teach kids to fish all week long, during that whole family week there. Well, it turns out some of the enviros are saying that maybe there shouldn't be fishing in High Park Lake in the middle of Toronto because it's upsetting the ecosystem.
It's funny. I did hear that. I did read that. And I've been waiting to hear the reply from the Toronto ambassadors because that community is very well invested in that fishery. A lot of their posts come from it. A lot of their protection cleanups and what have you are directed towards it. So I've kind of been waiting for their statement. I myself obviously have one, like most anglers, that see it as a great benefit and see angling as a great benefit. But it'd be interesting to see what our folks over at TUFA have to say about that.
I think, in situations like this where you could have a pond, it's not really a lake, but it's a large pond where you could have fishing pressure, you might want to come to some compromises in terms of what kind of fishing takes place there. Are you going to want people showing up with 5-gallon buckets, taking 25 panfish out of there, or maybe it's something where you're going to say, hey, let's make this catch and release barbless hooks, something, just little simple tweaks like that. And boom, you take the wind right out of the enviro sails, right? Because you're saying, look, we're all about conservation too. And this isn't a pond that's meant to give food security to inner city Torontonians. This is about getting out and teaching kids how to fish and having that experience. So it's catch and release. It's catch and release. So little tweaks like that can make all the difference when you're dealing with this kind of urban fishery.
Interesting. Right on.
Yep. Again, what's coming up next year?
You got 10 of these, right? I think we were only on 4, so we better.
No, this is 6. I got 6.
Oh, okay, good.
Coming up. So, what's the hottest thing trending on the internet right now about fishing, fly fishing? You'll never get this. You got 3, 2, 1. What am I doing? Hey, Henry Winkler, the Fonz, man, he's into fly fishing. He's trending all over the place.
Is he really?
Yeah. He's all over
Wow.
social media. Him-
Wow.
He loves fishing. Loves fishing. He got into it about 25 years ago. Can't stop. There's an
Wow.
ambassador, right?
I always liked the Fonz and Henry Winkler in all of the movies that I saw him in, that he acted in, but I had no idea he had a passion for angling, but that's fantastic. We share in the Fonz's passion. How cool is that?
Girls and fishing, or fishing and girls. We what are the order, either way.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic.
Okay, here's some good news for the St. Lawrence River. They just released 10,000 2-month-old muskie into my favorite bay on the St. Lawrence River, Blind Bay.
Interesting.
Yeah, 10,000 2-month-old baby muskie. Let's say a little, send some good vibes their way, man.
Well, you know what? They need all the help they can get, because as we have seen and documented on CFN Live, is the amount of fish deaths that have been directly attributed to muskie in that body of water. Yeah, my best wishes for those fish, and for not only the fish, but the volunteers. The amount of work that goes into raising these fish, is something that I think a lot of us don't even think about and perhaps take for granted. But a 2-month-old muskie is not an easy fish to raise based on its diet. So the amount of work that has gone into raising that many muskie, good on the volunteers for doing so. And, here's knocking on wood that all of them survived to adulthood.
Thousand Island Land Trust and the Biological Research Station are the two organizations involved with that. So there's some government money, some state money, and a lot of volunteer money.
Steve Shaw is asking a great question. This is a great question, and I can't wait to hear your answer, because I think I know what the answer is. But are there many muskie hatcheries?
I don't know. I know the Thousand Islands Biological Research Station, they're working closely with a hatchery, and they've done both 2-year-old muskie releases and the young muskie releases, and to figure out which ones would have the best effect. And they realized that you put a lot of money and energy into creating these 2-year-old fish to release, and none of them survived.
I can think of only 3 right now, Steve, that are producing muskie. There may have been a little bit more when we were introducing them into Lake Simcoe.
Yeah.
But 3,000 Island is one. I do believe there's another one up on in the Spanish River area. And I think there's one more, maybe White Lake may have been producing at one point as well. But if any, there's 3. I only know of one right now that's active that Lawrence just mentioned.
Canada has native muskie, wild muskie populations. You go into the States and it's all hatchery fish. We're unique in that regard. Like the Otto River, there's no hatchery fish in the Otto River. They're all wild.
Yeah.
We're blessed. We really are.
When you hear of the numbers, and this isn't trying to shame anybody or whatever, but just to give you folks an idea, when it comes to the number of, like, let's just say walleye that are released into the waters of just Ontario, or even Canada. Let's say Canada as a whole. One state hatches and releases more walleye than the entire country of Canada. It's just mind-boggling. And I don't even think now it's even close. Maybe back in the 90s when we were doing a little bit more of it. But right now, like a state like New York, the Finger Lakes, the amount of millions of fish that they release each year, it's quite incredible.
They really put the put into put and take fishing, didn't they?
Well, so that is where we differ. We like natural reproduction. And of course, there's a lot of benefits to natural reproduction when it comes to recruitment, genetic strain, strength, and all this. There are definitely some benefits, but there's also some benefits to put and take. When you see some of those YouTube videos or Facebook videos of the migrating walleye, for instance, heading up a river down in the States, they're doing really well. And they do have that natural recruitment for future stocks. It's just, again, having new and vibrant genetic strains that are diverse within that strain of fish keeps it healthy and keeps it away from disease. So there's two extremes, there's two beliefs, and I'm kind of right in the middle.
Number 8. New Brunswick just announced that they're creating 84 nature preserves around watersheds, rivers around the province. It's the total amount of space that they're committing to preservation and protection is about the size of 16 Bay of Funds altogether. It's going to bring them from about 4% of their land territory to protection to 10% of their territory is going to be protection. And this is all good news for the fisheries, because this is the headwaters, this is the rivers, the streams, all the valuable rivers that, are so important to all these species that we love to catch. A lot of that's going to be protected now. So good for New Brunswick.
Good news.
Yeah. Oh, number 9, the International Game Fish Association in 40 countries around the world, including now Canada, thank you to Bluefish Canada, has just surpassed their goal of teaching 100,000 young people to fish.
Congratulations.
I know, right?
That's a big number.
That's huge.
It is huge.
100,000 people in 40 countries.
Wow, that's massive. Yeah, that's massive.
Yeah.
That's a good news story.
I got a little quiz for you, buddy.
All right.
We all like to hear stupid things about stupid ideas and myths and beliefs about bad luck and boats and bad luck fishing and boats. So I've got 5 things here that are considered bad luck if you do this on a boat. So throw that out to the audience and let's see how fast we can nail down these 5.
Okay. I know for a fact that, one of the biggest, and it depends who you are. Some will say it's a wives' tale. Some will say it's myth. Some will throw them out of the boat if they see them. And of course that, yes, Erica, absolutely. Bananas.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, that would probably be number 1.
Yeah.
I did hear of a second one this weekend that was shared to me that I had never known before, which was really cool. I don't know if it's on your list of 5, but opening a can upside down on a boat.
That's just stupid.
Well, think of it. Like if you're opening, say, pork and beans, right?
Yeah. You mean the label? The label. Yeah. Oh, I thought you meant a pop can.
No. If you were to open a can of, say, pork and beans, upside down, there are captains out there that, and I learned this myself. This isn't my information. I learned this this past weekend.
Yeah.
That if they see you do that, they will literally throw the can overboard, and perhaps maybe even you.
Well, that wasn't on my list, but we could add it.
Yeah.
Okay, we need 4 more.
Well, everybody's saying bananas. Yeah, bananas. Can anybody think about another wives' tale about boating?
I'll give you a clue.
Okay, give us a clue. What, whistling?
Never whistle on a boat.
Why?
It brings bad luck. Whistling on a boat is a bad luck, man. Everyone knows that.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Okay, here's another one. Hang on. Okay, something about names. Here's another clue. Names.
Never name it a guy name?
Never rename a boat.
Never rename it. I have heard that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Never rename a boat.
Yeah.
So we got 2 left. And
Steve is saying dawn on board is a boat is a bad thing.
What's that?
Dawn on board is not a good thing, but that's his wife.
Okay.
I hope she's not listening.
Here's another one. You never set your left foot on the boat. When you board a boat, never use your left foot first. Don't ask me why.
Well, I have to because I don't. I have no idea. Really?
You want to know the reasons? You got to go to the news, and there's a link to Mercury Dock Lines. Has all the explanations, the history behind these myths, and they've written it all out. It's quite fascinating because it all comes from a reason. It's not just some captain just made some piece of shit up. There's real reasons for this stuff. Even the banana one. The banana one is because when the boats went to the Caribbean to load up with fruit, they found out that if you put bananas in the hull along with the other fruit, bananas ripen so fast, and then they let out a gas, and that gas coming from ripened bananas makes all the other fruit rot.
Yeah.
So then the captain said, "Don't put any bananas on my damn boat. You're going to rot all my fruit." So then
I
it was
also
just no
heard-
bananas, no
I
bananas.
also heard that with the bananas, a lot of unwanted spiders show up, and a lot of them were poisonous spiders that would unfortunately bite the crew, and they would get all kinds of sicknesses, and that was an issue. But bananas, as a whole, as I always have said, is bad. But some totally disagree.
Last one: cats are good luck. Now, who the hell brings a cat fishing? We all bring dogs. Who brings a cat?
So but not to say that a dog is bad luck, just the cats are good luck.
Cats are good luck. So you see them on sailboats a lot, like the pirate ships, right? They always have cats. Cats are good luck. I don't know why, but there you go. That's the 5. That's according to Mercury.
You know what? You've got some folks that are in here that mentally do put their right leg first.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is a myth they do all the time on commercial. I'm not sure. Oh, girlfriend and wife at the same time. Richard, that's just a recipe for disaster. Anybody doing that, just no, absolutely. Whistling on a boat, Erica. Can you imagine? I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
I hope singing isn't part of that, because
I think singing's allowed, but whistling,
I hope so. Wow. Well, listen, that is absolutely fantastic. Thanks so much for sharing that, as you always do, Lawrence. That is a wealth of information. I learned something about cormorants, and I learned about myths that I knew nothing about. That's really, really cool.
Can I give a little shout out to the new G. Loomis nymph rod?
Absolutely, my friend.
So nymphing is a great technique. I figured this out when I was competing in a fly fishing tournament in Colorado, and it was the American Cup. And all these Europeans came over, and they were nymph fishing. They get into full wetsuits. They go right into the river, right up to their neck. And they use these 9 and 10 foot nymph rods with no fly line, just 20-pound test monofilament down to a taper with 3 small lead-bodied nymphs. And this is how they catch pressured fish. They go into the river, and they just sort of flip the nymphs on the line upstream, let it sink to the bottom, and then the nymphs, you get the weight just right to the current, so the nymphs just tumble along the bottom of the river, and then they just follow it along, and they watch the tip of the fly rod, and when it bends or stops, they set the hook. So it's kind of like, steelhead fishing a little bit, but they're right in the river, and they literally crawl around to make no shadow. They don't want to make any shadow on the surface of the river, and they can catch highly pressured trout all day long using this technique. I love it because a lot of it has to do with just feeling for that bite, right? Which is my strength. So I'm excited that G. Loomis has come out with a nymph-specific fly rod now for this technique.
Very cool. Lawrence, no nymph about it, and hopefully you get out what a line very, very soon. Again, keep up the great work, dude. That was a wealth of information, and I just learned something about myths and cormorants this evening because of you. Thanks, dude.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, who knew? Cats are good luck. Unreal. Whistling is a bad thing. Nope. Can't say I do. Make sure you stick around because Jason Barnucz is going to be coming up, and we're going to be giving away 3 of these tonight. So stay tuned to that. But before we do, here's a word from Jay's sponsor.
The fear of failure is failure itself. The world of science rewards the ones who are willing to try and fail. Because without the courage to embrace failure, ideas remain ideas. But with that courage to fail and to learn, ideas can change the world.
Jay Barnucz is in the house. How you doing, Jay?
Good, Scotty. How are you doing?
Oh, dude, that was interesting. I have to say I learned a few things in Lauren's segment, and as always, we learn in yours and Big Jim's. But let the learning continue. Did you watch anything that went on in ICAST this past week and weekend?
Yeah. There was a few cool things that kind of caught my eye. I'm gonna give a shout out to the good folks at Berkeley. They actually they won best freshwater hard bait and best freshwater soft bait for their new, it's going to be a funny name, man, Slob Knocker, which is their new bladed jig. And it's basically, it's a chatterbait style jig, but it's got a really cool head design where the blade, and I put a link to it in the chat. The blade is connected to the head, but there's a hollow hole through the head where the blade has like a bar. So I did look at some prototypes. This is going back like 2 years now, and it gives off a huge amount of vibration. So guys that are in the bladed jig fishing, it's going to be a great bait. And then last year they won best of show for freshwater soft bait with their bait, the Gilly.
Yeah.
And the Gilly was this cool little bait that had this, like, they call it a honeycomb design. What it is basically, it was like a swim bait, but the tail of the swim bait, or the back half of the bait, had this really honeycomb pattern on it that catches water and gives the swim bait more action. So this year they came out with a Stinger, it's called, and it's designed to be a bladed jig trailer swim bait, but you can use it as a straight swim bait. And it just has that honeycomb design. So they've just been some really innovative stuff coming out of ICAST from all the companies. But I'll give a shout out to Berkeley. But I'm going to mention 2 more that caught my eye, and I'm going to share them here in the chat.
Because wasn't that the first time a soft bait was voted, overall winner at ICAST last year? That Gilly. It wasn't just
the Gilly was the overall winner last year.
The overall winner. That's the first time that a soft plastic or any kind of bait had won that distinction.
That's right. Yeah. And then this year they won best softwater lure, with building on the same design as last year. So it's not really a swim bait; it's more of a trailer, but it using that honeycomb pattern they've developed, which is really, really cool. So Scotty, I got to put this in the chat because it's really important. But one of the companies I get to work with these days is Frabill, and yep. I'm sure you're familiar with Frabill, right?
Yep. Oh yes.
Okay, so they won a couple of cool awards. One was they won an award for a net, and I like the name of the net. It's called the Witness Net. Okay.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So the Witness Net, what makes it a Witness Net is it has built into it. So have you used any of the Frabill conservation nets? Have you ever seen those at all?
I have not, no.
So I have one in the garage. I wish I had it handy. So their conservation nets have this real soft mesh that was designed to basically treat fish really well. If you're going to net a fish, to hold it and then release it, their conservation nets have this incredible, it's a soft mesh, and it doesn't tangle much. Like, what's great about these nets is you can get your fish out pretty quick. Even with treble hooks, it's easy to get out, seldomly gets tangled up. So they came up with this Witness Net, and it's like a witness. It has a built-in scale. On the handle is a built-in meter stick, measuring board on the handle, and the net has that great conservation style design. So it's a really, really cool development from Frabill. Really impressed.
Well, you know what? One thing that I'm so happy to see is the innovation that nets are taking on. No longer is it the tied up fishing wire that was nothing but damaging to fish. We thought we were doing the fish a great service by netting them as opposed to picking them up by their gill plates.
Yeah.
In some cases, those old nets they would remove.
Well, those old nylon nets with the knots,
yeah.
And I still see people using them. And now if they're going to keep the fish to eat it, that's their choice. But if your goal is to go out and release most of your catch or all your catch, investing in a good net is really, really, really worth it. And the folks at Frabill have nailed it down for years. They make nets for just about every species imaginable, from small. I have a bunch of Frabill nets, from small stream trout to muskie, right? And the conservation net is the sizing is typically like an average net. You're going to use it for bass or for pike or for walleye, smaller pike. And it's just a great net to have, and they're telescopic, and they're just such a good investment. I know they're a little expensive, but it's not like I go through nets like I go through other things.
Right.
Like I'm going to put 150 out for a net, let's say, but I'm going to have it for years, like 10 years or
and
more.
If it somehow help the fish, like why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we?
Well, And here's the other one that they got in the same link I sent. Fraybro came out with a little aerator. Now they've had aerators before, and they haven't really been the best, Scotty. They haven't really been the best.
No.
This one has a lithium-ion battery in it.
No.
And it has an enhanced diffuser, so more of those little micro bubbles that we know really work well for capturing oxygen, right? And it has a rechargeable lithium battery, and that's coming out from Fraybro this fall. So two great products from Fraybro that, you know, really emphasize their company's commitment to conserve more fish. Absolutely.
Well, I always was a big lover of the Fraybro 5-gallon pail design for live well, and you know, I would always boast that it would hold fish a lot longer than anything else on the market, and it was strictly because of the stone. That stone at the bottom, I don't think any other competitor had a stone that size, and the amount of microbubbles that it produced was fantastic. The only problem is, of course, there's no way to remove the ammonia, but at the end of the day, I did do a test, and I might share it again this winter with the Engel and the Fraybro, and the Fraybro won hands down.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool, man. So I have an announcement to make. I need you to go into your Facebook chat. I sent you a picture. I always do this to you, man.
Oh.
If you can share it. If you can't, it's okay. So I went and picked up.
Let me switch here so people can see this.
Yep. So I went and picked up a new kayak.
Is that an Old Town? Is that an Old Town kayak?
No, it's actually, I did a ton of research on this, and I've been chatting off and on with Darren King from Das King Kayak. So Darren sells his kayaks out of Collingwood, and I know quite a few CFNers that have them and friends that have them. And you know, I was really struggling with getting a kayak because availability's been a bit tough. They're not that cheap, to be honest. If you just want to go buy a kayak, you're spending a lot of money. I got a great deal on a kayak. Started talking with Darren at the Sportsman Show back in March, and he had a great deal on a Kratos kayak. It has a weight capacity of 500 pounds, so it's in my ballpark.
Mine too.
Yeah. So it's and the reason why I got it really was not just to selfishly go fishing more, but with Trevor with his kayak, I'm limited where I can take him. Like I've been putting his kayak just in our tinner and going to the ramp. But there's so many places he wants to go to that I can't go with my tinner. Like there's no ramp for miles around, right? So, and then I'm not going to let's say the ramp is over here and I got to run 12 miles over here. I'm not going to drop him off at some random place and then meet me there. I'm like, I just need to make an investment in a kayak. And so I met Darren at the Toronto Sportsman Show. Great guy. Picked up the kayak in Collingwood last week and been spending the last few days getting it all outfitted with tracks and fish finders and all that good stuff.
No,
and
please tell me this thing's not like 23 feet long or something like that.
No. So the Kratos kayak is their largest kayak. Not largest. They have a larger one. It's a tandem, so I don't include that. It's a 2-person kayak. So this one is 13 feet. It's 36 inches wide. It's basically about, in terms of kayaks, it's pretty much on par with some of the larger ones out there like Old Town or Hobie. But this one's all Canadian made. It's all Canadian made, and his pricing is great. What I've learned through all this is because he makes them in Canada, and there's not a lot of middle people to sell them with and dealers, because he sells them basically direct out of his store in Collingwood, and also directly when he goes to trade shows. He goes to trade shows a ton, London, Hamilton, Toronto, and so you buy direct from him, you're gonna save a lot of money on a great kayak. And this is a pedal drive kayak, not a paddle kayak, but I can also for another $1,000, I can put a trolling motor on this thing. And a lot of the trolling motor kayaks, you can't swap out pedals and trolling motors. You can't, but he's designed a way to do that. So he can swap in a trolling motor. And I've seen a friend of mine, Aaron Shirley, on Facebook, Aaron in the Niagara area, he has the same kayak, and he has it tricked out for salmon on Lake Ontario, and he's in the top 10 in the Silver Salmon Challenge right now with a 25+ pound king that he caught trolling dipsies in his Kratos Das King kayak. It's amazing.
Wow.
He's now, he's got a couple lithium batteries to run the trolling motor. He had some great posts talking about doing all the electrical calculations to figure out, how many hours am I going to get if I'm running at like half the speed, 3/4 speed into the wind. And yeah, so he's all set now. He can run 3, 4, 5 miles. He can get about 10 to 12 hours on a charge, trolling dipsies in different conditions. And that's how he's catching the kings off of Lake Grimsby in that area. So in his kayak. So there you go. And he's 6 foot. He's as tall as me, if not a bit taller. He's probably 6. I'm 6'3", at least 6'3". So yeah.
So Das King kayaks. Make sure you have
kayaks
in the market. We love Canadian built, so support local.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
Really check them out. And if you're thinking about it, I'm going to give you an insider tip. Go to a trade show. Some of the deals at trade shows for kayaks right now are incredible, especially when I know some of the times it's no tax, but geez, when you're spending $2,000 on something, if you can save no tax, that is a big savings. But he had some other great deals last year that I took advantage of. So I highly recommend Darren and his gang up there in Collingwood. Now, from where I live to Collingwood was a bit of a hike. That was a full day going to Collingwood and back. But yeah, I took Trevor with me, woke him up in the morning, didn't tell him what I was doing, just put him in the van and we drove. So,
but here's the advice, at the end of the day, does he want to bring that back home or back to a shop, where he's holding it? No. He'd rather leave the show with nothing. So yeah. Absolutely. Your advice is well taken.
Yeah, and it's there are some great kayaks out there. I see Corey mentioned about Hobies. Yeah, they're not cheap. Like a comparable Hobie to what I have from Das King is it's going to be twice the money that I paid for a Hobie. And I've used Hobies. I used to do kayak guiding locally for a local outfitter on Lake Erie with Hobie Pro Anglers. Great kayak, but I don't think if you don't have the money to spend on that on a kayak like that, I don't think you need to. There's other options. And buy Canadian, buy from Darren.
Amen. Now, obviously, it would help if you have a trailer. Richard's asking, do you have a trailer for that?
Sure.
kayak?
So I did some upgrades. So when Trevor. So we bought one for Trevor last year. It was a group effort. Grade 8 graduation. He had some lawn cutting money. I had some money. Grandma had some money. We put it all in together. Great deal. Bought it off a used kayak off of it's a 2018 Old Town pedal drive from a buddy in London. It came with a little utility trailer, and they used 2 PVC bunks to hold the kayak on the trailer, which you'll see a lot of DIY kayak trailers have PVCs. The issue with the PVC on this trailer is that, Scotty, it's a smaller utility trailer, and it has a lot of bounce to it. Of bounce to it. And I'm not driving recklessly. It bounces a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And the PVC would crack, and then over time you have to replace it. So what I did was through a website, etrailer.com, I just bought some accessories. I bought a bar, 2 bars to go across, and then 2 sets of wood bunks. And so now it's bulletproof. I can strap those kayaks down. The trailer is going to last forever, except for the wheels and the axle, which I hate. I hate trailers. I love trailers. I use them all the time. But there's nothing that keeps you. Is there anything that keeps you up more at night than a trailer?
No. And I've said this to everyone who cares to listen. Something that drives me absolutely crazy is a bearing, depending on the size of trailer or wheel axle you have.
Yeah.
A bearing, which can sometimes be $45 to $100, but that little thing, when it decides to let go, and you'll never know when it's going to happen, is the difference between having a great weekend and one of the worst weekends of your life.
Well, but in saying that, with these kayaks now, these fishing kayaks, you're looking at a bare bones one, because they're wider, longer, and more stable. You're looking at 80 pounds, 70 to 80 pounds, maybe more. And that's not even with your tackle. That's just the kayak. And then you add in the pedal drive, the crate of fishing tackle, the rods, fish finder, battery, the weight goes up. Yep. So just the kayak alone, 80, 85 pounds, no one's going to put that up on their roof very easily. But what's nice is, even with a small even with a small SUV, like we have a mini Toyota minivan. Even with a small SUV, heck, even with a small car, I see a lot of guys, because you're talking a kayak, like even with the trailer and 2 kayaks, that trailer is no more than all in probably 400 or 500 pounds, 500 pounds, let's say, all in. Like that's light. You can tow that with a Honda Civic, man, if you wanted to. It's so light, right? So great way for people to get out. And I highly recommend a trailer, because the trailer itself is just a great way to get kayaks around and avoid having to lift it on top of things. And I don't know, I find it's easier to secure on a trailer as well. So, yeah.
100%. But yeah, no, good advice there, Corey.
Yeah.
It's as I said, but trying to change, a bearing that has let go. Sometimes by the time you find out that it's gone, it's welded itself to the axle. So you're chipping and trying, like, it's just, as I said, it's so unfortunate. We drive miles in cars, but as soon as we pull a trailer, we're at the brink of a bearing. We're at the mercy of a bearing, and it can be a painful experience.
And you know what's funny is, if you're not sure how to do it, like, it's an investment. Just take it to a garage, have someone do it for you. Like, it's just part of regular maintenance. Because if you break down, in fact, even with CAA, unless you have the additional coverage for trailer, they won't take your trailer.
No. That's why you usually see them parked at the side of the highway.
Yeah. So, to get it done, if you use it a lot, at least once a year, you should have it done, right? So, yeah, take care of it. It'll take care of you, but they don't last forever. But yeah, no. So that's new and exciting on our end. Now, I might not get out to use it till we leave for the cottage this weekend. So I think I'm not going to have time to christen it till the weekend. So that's just going to be too busy doing other things, man, this week. And the wind this weekend was brutal. Yeah. Down where we were here, it was so windy. There was no way I was getting out this weekend in that kayak.
Yeah, well, it was the same up north. Where Elliot Lake is basically right at the North Channel, and all of that wind diverges right up towards the city. So, yeah, it was quite the wind event. We got lucky the day of the kids derby. It didn't start to get windy until late in the afternoon.
Nice.
As I said, we had to cut it short because the wind was becoming unsafe for these kids to start casting stuff, and I just didn't want to see a kid with an.
Were you mostly on shore there, or some boats out too, or?
No, it was always completely on shore. But as I said with the video, it spanned from the one dock, the municipal dock, all the way along the shoreline at the park, at Westview Park.
That's great, man.
Yeah, the event can hold more kids, and I think that's the aim for next year. Obviously, this is the first event since COVID, and it was a great success. Every kid left happy and full of stuff. Big shout out to Meigs, James Meager. I had picked up some stuff at his house, and unfortunately, we didn't get one sheet from the dock in time, so we were starting to award prizes. And it was a moment when someone had a bigger fish and didn't receive their so James stepped up in a huge way, and I went to the truck and brought it, and I said to James, I sent him a message, I'm sorry, dude, I didn't even look in the bag, I didn't have time, hopefully there wasn't anything I wasn't supposed to give away. And he's like, no, but as I said, it was just a combined effort, and it was a great success.
It's tough, man. I've over the years I've probably run 50 kids derbies in the last 10 years. I used to run at least 2 to 3 or 4 a year. And these mistakes happen, man. You have all these volunteers, and they're all weighing and measuring fish. So a lot of these live release ones, you do it where you're a large area, like a conservation area, and you got stations where kids can bring their fish, and then someone wrote something down wrong or forgot to bring in a weigh sheet. Next thing you know, like I've had, I hate to say it, but and I'll take blame. I organize the event, I'll take the blame. But I do see some people that get pretty upset. And it's kids derby, and every kid gets something at these events. Like that's always the goal that I have, is always everyone gets something. Yeah. And it's really, it just makes me sad that we're in the back of a pavilion, and I'm getting yelled at by somebody over a quarter of a pound of a brown trout that they thought their kids should have got bigger, right?
Yeah. Well, it was, the one parent that stepped up, no,
and that's great.
He just said, hold on a second, there were some other fish that were caught. This wasn't even mentioned, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, unfortunately, one of the weigh sheets didn't, again, not the point.
It happens.
It just happens. And stuff happens. But anyway, we started a little early announcing the winners, and lo and behold, the second weigh sheet or last weigh sheet. But you're right, we had weigh stations or measuring stations all over the place. As I said, Sally, she ran around like a chicken with her head cut off, making sure that all the kids' fish got measured. It was a Herculean effort on her part.
Very cool, man. Very cool. Love it.
That's what it is, man. Like, I mean, there were so many kids that left there with a smile and a great memory. That's the key.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Good stuff, buddy. Proud of you.
Yeah, well, we have another one coming up August 7th that I'm really looking forward to as well. And this is the cool part, and Stanley actually said, Scotty, you're kind of like Santa. I said, well, I'm about the same size. I just don't have the red hat and the 8 reindeer. But needless to say, the Algoma folks up there, and namely Chuck, they had some extra bags that they gave away. Yeah. He said, Scotty, take them. And so I'm bringing all that down to Stanley's Next Gen event in Lindsay on the 7th. So looking forward to that. Of course, Steve Shaw is going to be joining me to help out. It's a really cool program that Stanley runs. And of course, it is all inner city youth that attend this derby. And, not to dramatize it, but these kids really don't have a lot.
Yeah.
So when they're able to get something, it's a win-win.
That's true, man. A good friend of ours, he teaches high school. He teaches culinary arts at an inner city school. And some of these kids are all going, like, he sees them going off to, like, some of them advance really well, and they go off to, like, chef competitions and stuff. But a lot of these kids dive right into it. Yeah. Because they don't have the best home life or the best life all around, and so they bury themselves in this school. And so my buddy, and I know we're talking about cooking and not fishing, but it's the same sort of thing, right? It gives kids who otherwise wouldn't have some opportunities something to experience, something new. That's awesome. Love it.
Amen, brother. Amen. All right, so we have a bunch of these to give out tonight.
Yeah, man.
And lo and behold, we did get our 5th sticker pack that was sold. And Jeanette, I did see your message. Yes, the sticker packs are still available. Unfortunately, your name won't go on the wheel because we don't have enough time. But those are our 5, and hopefully you can see that. No, I didn't. Hold on a sec. There we go. Yeah, first one. Hopefully, did I get the right one? Let's see. Oh, nailed it. Fantastic. All right, so this is for the sticker packs. 5 of you that purchased them, we are going to spin. Last angler standing is going to take home a bottle of bait fuel. Here we go. And of course, stay tuned because of course the fish ID is next. Well, there's a surprise. Tony's usually the last one. Not often that Tony is removed from the wheel. Tony. We got 4 more to go. Again, we're going to be doing the fish ID as well. Some interesting answers, but most of you, if not all of you, got it correct. Richard Dunlop, sorry, buddy, you're off the wheel, but thanks so much for your purchase. We have 3 left. Sean, Barry, and Sally, and, of course, Mark Wolf. And, this is going to be close. No way. Wow. Mark Wolf. So these are our 2. Whoever it lands on
Here we go.
Barry and Sally or Sean Patrick. Let's find out who is our sticker pack winner and a winner of, it looks like Barry and Sal.
Barry and Sally.
Barry and Sal, as always, well-deserved. We will make sure that we bring this up to the CFN retreat.
Oh, yeah.
On guard. So we will remove that wheel. And obviously, we did get some answers finally, Jay, in regards to this fish. And it didn't go so well the first round because, of course, we got kicked out and whatever.
We're at the mercy of people above us that we have no control over. Right?
Amen, brother. But this is a very common fish, as we said, found in a lot of creeks. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. It is from the chub family. And as it is, this is a creek chub. And all of you anglers and CFNers got it right. So we are going to spin this wheel to find out who is taking home the bait fuel for the creek chub.
Oh, you got to share your screen so everyone can see it.
Oh, geez. Thanks for letting me know.
Gotta
Okay.
keep you honest, man.
Yeah.
Not that I'm concerned, Scotty. But
No. You're right. Okay, so there, Jeremy is the first one off the list. Unfortunately, you can see that now, Jay.
sorry, Jeremy.
Sorry, Jeremy. Right on. All right, let's keep going.
I love that spinning creek chub. I like that, man.
Right? Sorry, Richard.
Very, very psychedelic.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, remember the old Wolfman?
It's right. You're right, man. Oh,
Okay.
that's
what
awesome.
Okay.
And who didn't love that, man? Saturday mornings.
Hilarious House of Frightenstein, buddy. Come
I
on.
love that show. I wish
You got to get your groove
on.
on. Like the Wolfman would get his groove on, and all the background would be all, oh yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, that's
Man,
so
we are
great.
dating ourselves, Scotty. We are
What a
dating ourselves.
great memory, man. Saturday mornings. I used to love that. It was Halloween every Saturday.
Yep. Oh, sorry, Steve.
Sorry, Steve. So we got 3 left.
I heard Steve Jobs got a case in his garage anyway, so
Probably.
that's what I heard.
Probably. So we got 3 left. Congratulations to all 3 of you for getting it right. Lloyd Braun is out. So it is Klassen and Tony who are the last 2. I do like Tony. I like his chances. He's usually one that perseveres. Here's the last spin.
Here we go.
Yes, Tony Sizanowski. Right on. He wins for the Creek Chub. Congratulations.
Okay.
And sorry, Klassen, but you still have reprieve because it's not over. We got
one more to go, man.
One more to go.
Thanks to Rogers. Thanks to Rogers. It's a 2 for 1. It's a 2 for 1 night. So
absolutely. All right. Let's share the last screen. And of course, Jay, I'll let you describe this fish and its surroundings and where folks would find it.
Yeah, so this fish is found a lot of the Great Lakes and rivers in the Great Lakes. It's also found in Manitoba. You know, it has a pretty large distribution. Member of the darter family, which is also in the same family as perch and yellow perch and walleye. It is a log perch. And I think for folks who are on social media, we see this fish a lot. People asking, what the heck is this? It's probably the number 1 or 2 fish that I get asked about, log perch.
Yeah, I see it on a lot of Facebook groups. They'll catch it and they'll ask a million people, and it's amazing to see the number of comments. But there's a lot of educated folks out there, and there are a bunch of them on the wheel. So we're going to get to spinning them to find out who it is that's going to take home the 3rd bottle of bait fuel. Congratulations to Barry Sally and Tony Sizanowski for the first round. Oh, Sally, we see you removed from that. We will continue on. How rare is this species of fish, Jay?
You know what? It's not that rare. It's just not often seen.
Right.
So it's because it's not used for bait typically. But it's really common, Scotty. But it's gone through decline because of round goby, because they share the same habitats. So there's been some decline in log perch, and you know, the ever popular Johnny Darter, you know, species like that have gone on the decline because of round goby. But these guys are persistent, man. They've been here for 1,000 years. They'll be here 1,000 more, I bet.
Well, we still have Tony on the wheel. Be interesting to see if Tony ends up with a 2nd bottle. Jeremy, too bad, my friend. Congratulations on getting
I see
it
Corey's
right.
comment. So Corey, it's actually not it is in the perch family, but it's actually a species of darter. So but it gets quite big. I've seen them up to 6, 7, 8 inches long.
Well, I would say that's a fairly good size log.
That's a good size one. That's the palm of my hand, right? So yeah, that's probably around 6.5, 7 inches. That one.
That is a really good size log perch. Oh, Richard, sorry, my friend. It comes down to 2 that have previously won.
Oh boy.
Nick and Tony have won before. Let's find out who's going to win a 2nd time.
Dun, dun, dun.
Looks like Nick's getting his 2nd bottle.
Get the 2nd bottle.
Right on. Fantastic. Well, thanks so much for all of you who partook in the last 3 events that have now surpassed, and we are going to give some of this bait fuel to you to make sure that you can enjoy. And I will say this, now that I think of it, Jay, I did not upload the picture that you shared. Yes. So can you share it so that folks and I can
let me do that. Just give me 1 second.
Right on. Yep. Congratulations, Nick. Congratulations.
What's check Mike's comment in the chat. There's a neat comment he's got there about fishing for
yes, for log perch. Hook need to be small enough to catch them. So if you're fishing for bass or pike with big hooks, you might not be able to accidentally catch them. I have not myself caught one. I've only seen someone that had, and it was an interesting fish, really interesting fish. Had some the fins too. I noticed had a reddish color on just the outside part of the fin, but that is more conducive to a European perch as opposed to North American perch family. But needless to say, it was a beautifully colored fish.
Let's see if I can share this here. Come here now.
If I can get it.
And
no. Oh, there it is.
We there?
Well, I have it here, and I will make sure I post it, but let me enlarge the picture so folks can see it.
I tried sharing my screen on the Scotty in StreamYard. Did that work? I don't know if you can do that on your end.
I probably could.
That's all right.
That is probably as close as it's going to get to the quality picture. I will make sure that I make a separate post, but feel free to answer what fish is that. Obviously, if I'm a guessing person, it is definitely part of the trout family or the char family.
Yeah, it is a member of it is a member of the trout and salmon family. It has an adipose fin. And that adipose fin is really the big clue to that one. I'm giving away all the juice on that one when I say
there's the adipose fin. Make sure you see that. As Jay has said, that is the dead giveaway. All right, so Mike has already made an answer. There's some good guesses there. Make sure you put them in the comments. We're gonna spin the wheel for the last time next week. As our fish ID is coming to a close, and all of the winners will be put on a wheel and will be eligible to win the book that you showed us with how many species of fish in it?
So it has, let me pull it out. There's over, I think, 180 species of fish in here.
Ooh-wee.
It's the ROM, Royal Ontario Museum Field Guide to Freshwater Fishes of Ontario. But don't feel bad if you're neighboring in Ontario, so Quebec, Manitoba, heck, even a lot of the prairies, a lot of the fish overlap in here. It's a great guidebook, and I'll give you a quick peek. So this is what you're going to see. So there's northern pike. Wow. Lots of detail about it. Range map. All you need. Everything's in there. It's not just identifying fish. It's also about their biology, their reproduction. Has some great tips in there. It's basically taking what we love with freshwater fishes of Canada, the old Scott and Crossman, and bringing that down into a field guide. And this is the second edition. It just came out. It was the first edition came out 10 years ago, and this one just came out. That's a fresh copy. I might have bent the spine a little bit there, but otherwise it's in good shape. So it's ready to go.
I was going to bring this up, but Mike already beat me to it. It was the Bible when it came to fish offs that preceded this year, and still really, it is our Bible, and it is very, very handy, and it points out some of the subtleties to a fish species that can be mistaken for other species of fish. It is a guide. Even if you don't win it, it is a good book to pick up so that, when you see these posts on fishing group pages, you can look like an expert by answering the question of, say, a log perch, or perhaps, as I said, this week's fish, which again has been provided by the Barnucz family. And let me just switch the screen. So if you know what species of fish that is, and I'm trying to,
that was actually caught. That was caught by Trevor yesterday. That fish. I said, that's perfect timing, Trevor. So almost in real time.
So put it in the comments below, and hopefully it's your name that goes on the wheel for a chance to
and
win.
For folks that are asking, I posted a link in the chat. You can order the book. It's $30. Highly recommend it. It's not just a picture book. It's a lot of great information. Talks about threatened species, invasive species, potential fish that might you see in Ontario. Yeah, so check it out. And like, they will sell out. The old version sold out. You can buy them on Amazon now for like 5 times or 6 times what originally they were worth. So if you want to get one, you can wait to see how you fare in the draw. But at the end of the day, it's a great book if you want to pick one up.
It'll be worth millions if you sign it, Jay.
I will say this. There was a book release party, and the 3 co-authors of the book, Erling, Mary, and Nick. Nick's a professor at U of T, used to be my manager at Fisheries and Oceans. And Erling and Mary work at the ROM in the ichthyology department. I have a signed copy in my office. That was a gift to me for all the annoying fish pictures I send them. Because even I need help identifying fish, right? At least I'm looking for, sometimes I need a second opinion. We know how that goes, right, Scotty?
Absolutely. So, absolutely.
So yeah,
Richard,
I'm not going to sign it, Steve, but thanks for that.
Great question. This is a great, and I get asked this a lot. Is Google a good place to go, and how accurate is it when you try to Google a fish species?
You know what? It is somewhat accurate, but I'm going to say this. Let's think about that log perch picture that we had in North America, and I'm going to talk about mostly the southeastern United States.
Yeah,
has the highest freshwater diversity for fishes in a temperate area, like outside of the Amazon kind of thing. I'm being very blunt here, but it's huge diversity, and there's several species of log perch that there's no way Google Photos could distinguish. So this is what gets people in trouble sometimes when we get into some of these social media spats over fish ID, is they might have run the fish through Google Photos and it came up to be a Roanoke log perch, not the common log perch, right? So it's those are the challenges. A really good website to use if you're out looking for fish and you're curious about where they might be, like a field guide like that is handy, of course. But we don't always carry books around. Like that's old school fisheries work, man. Like carrying a field guide in your pocket. Mm-hmm. Now everything's on your phone. I'll just share one more link, Scotty, because I know we're running out of time here. But let me see if I can find it quick. It's called iNaturalist for Canada. And you can search in iNaturalist for just about any organism out there, you know, fish, turtles, plants. And I really think that if you're out looking around, you can query for different species and different groups of fish like minnows, sunfish. Go into iNaturalist and it'll give you records of the latest records of fish that have been caught. So for example, I get forwarded links sometimes because someone caught a minnow at a creek somewhere and they're not sure what it is. And an iNaturalist, experts will chime in, or so-called experts sometimes, but they'll chime in and they'll have a discussion about the traits of the fish in that picture. And it's really cool because if you query for, like, let's say log perch in iNaturalist, there's a map function and you can zoom in and zoom out of all the records in iNaturalist.
No way.
And as you zoom in, there's different squares, and there's usually pictures of, like, if you click on a square, it'll say, oh yeah, log perch from the St. Clair River. And then you look at the profile picture, it's just some guy like you and I that just was out fishing and caught a log perch, took a picture on their hand, uploaded to iNaturalist, and basically ask, what is this thing? So, and iNaturalist is a really cool app, and it has a great website too. So I encourage people to check out iNaturalist, look at some of the different diversity in your local rivers, and it's all right at your fingertips. It's a really cool, really cool website.
Jay, as always, my friend, a wealth of information, and something that I wanted to make known to you on Wednesdays. It won't be starting this Wednesday, most likely next Wednesday. We are going to be talking to the folks over at Anglers Atlas and the MyCatch app to learn more about the science and why this app is so geared towards folks like yourself when you're doing fish studies and how it can help. I think a lot of folks don't realize the science behind it and the benefits to it.
Yeah.
So we're hoping that you'll be able to join us a Wednesday or two to dive in and dissect what this MyCatch app has to offer, not only you folks as biologists and our scientists of our fisheries, but also how anglers can get involved and help with that science.
Yeah, I think the app is great, and I look forward to chatting more with you guys about it. I know I was invited to a conference call a few months ago now about the app, and you know, and we discussed some of the challenges with the app and a lot of the positives with the app too. So yeah, I look forward to helping out, but I might be strapped to a kayak next week. I might not be around. I might be out of cell coverage next week.
That's quite all right, my friend. We will get you on another day. We're going to be, hopefully, Mike and I are going to be hosting this, and we're just going to dissect exactly that, citizen science, and finding out the pluses, the minuses, if there are any, and what this app has to offer. Because I think we only, as anglers, know the tip of the iceberg, and there's lots underwater that we need to know.
Yeah, and you know, iNaturalist is another great example of a citizen science-based program that covers fish and everything, plants. And at some point, I have to talk to you about, and I will on another show, about some of the cool stuff I've been finding recently online. About people always ask me about how to find out stuff about lakes that they fish. Well, in Ontario, they're starting to publish reports. Like current reports, not stuff from the 1970s, Scotty. Current reports from their broad scale monitoring program. So we'll talk about that in a future show, because I think that's going to be really informative for some people.
Can't wait, because literally it'll be a trip back down memory lane for me, because a lot of that stuff I read to educate myself when it came to what I did with the walleye.
And they've been doing broad scale monitoring now across Ontario for about I want to say at least 15 years. And so some lakes they've surveyed up to 3 times. I think it's like on a 5-year rotation. And so you can actually look up like what was the length distribution for walleye in a certain lake, and it might shock you some of the lakes that.
If I were to tell you this, Jay, that they have documented information of walleye that were caught and measured and processed in the late 1800s.
Yeah.
Would that not blow your mind?
It's wild, man. It's wild.
Unreal. 1890. They have documents that date back that far on some of the studies that were done for walleye on the Moon River. Incredible.
When I get back from vacation on the first show back, let's talk about that in my segment. Let's figure out how to share a screen, because I want to actually share data with you about. I'm going to find a couple lakes I think you might be interested in, Scotty, and we'll talk. All right?
Right on, dude. Appreciate it, Jay. All the best, my friend. Enjoy your week and weekend.
Thanks, everyone. See ya.
Peace. That wraps up another show. Thanks, Lloyd. I appreciate that. And, of course, Klassen, again, I do my best, guys. At the end of the day, it's about education. It's about having some entertainment and some fun, and just passing on some new stuff that I didn't know. Like, I learned a whole bunch of stuff today. Along with you. And if we continue to do that, we're going to be better anglers for it, better people in general, and we'll be able to pass on that information to the people that are around us. But never bring a banana. No, I'm kidding. But it was interesting to hear about opening up a can upside down. That, you just don't do that. So again, all wives' tales miss. Thanks to all who participated. Congratulations to all the winners. And of course, for those who want to enter next week, please, I beg you, make sure you put a comment down in the comment section on what you may think that fish is. If you didn't get to see it, just go back. It's not too far away. And as I said, good luck to all who enter. Dave, it's time to take us away. Everybody have a great week, a safe week, and hopefully it's full of fishing. Take care. Until we see you next Monday, all the best. Peace.
Well, as much as I hate to admit it, I guess we've run out of time. So I've enjoyed it, but I'm going to do something I haven't done since season 1. Turn out the lights, the party's over. They say that all good things must end.